let's talk about slope. So today we're talking about slope-intercept form. So we're still involving slope. So we're still involving this idea of slope. And so last week we did slope, and we knew that slope was rise over run. And rise over run means the vertical change over the horizontal change. The vertical change over the horizontal change. And the vertical variable is y, so it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right, so the change means subtraction. So we're doing y2, the y from the second order pair, minus y1, the y from the first order pair, over x2 minus x1. So all of these are changes. Now the last one that we haven't really seen yet is just another way of writing it. You may see it written as delta y over delta x. And in physics especially, delta, the Greek letter delta, the triangle, the Greek letter delta means change. We also know about slope. That it's always can be written as a fraction. Your slope value can always be manipulated, can be rewritten as a fraction. Sometimes it's improper. What does improper fractions mean? It's not polite. It's a
larger number over small.
Correct. Your numerator is larger than your denominator. It's never a mixed number or decimal. If it is a mixed number or a decimal, we need to fix it and make it improper. So we have this idea of slope, and slope measures the steepness of a line, right? It measures the angle of the line. Is it really steep? Is it almost vertical? Or is it really shallow, meaning it's almost horizontal? So we're adding on to this. We have slope, which we've done a lot of. Now we're going to talk about intercepts. Intercepts. So we have slope, this idea of slope. Now we're going to talk intercept. And an intercept is the point where the graph of a line crosses the y-axis. It's called a y-intercept because it's where the graph of a line, that diagonal line that we have, right, the vertical or the horizontal line, or the steepness, right, the diagonal line, crosses the y-axis, and only the y-axis. We're not worried about anything except the y-intercept today. Y-intercept. So there's an equation. There's a formula we're going to use today. And this will be around for a very long time, so get friendly with it. Y equals mx plus b. The formula for a line slope-intercept form, the formula is y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. And plus b, or if it happens to be minus b, is your y-intercept. M is your slope, and B is your y-intercept. Y and X mean that you're graphing it, right? Those are your ordered pairs. So let's do a little bit of identification. Let's start off easy. If I give you the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 3, can you identify the m and the b? If I give you the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 3, can you identify the m, the slope, and the b, the intercept? What's the slope? Raise your hand who can tell me. Henry?
1/2.
1/2. And what's your intercept?
Plus 3.
Plus 3. Positive 3. I don't need the plus, right? Yes, ma'am.
Why is it M and B?
So I'm assuming it's M because they didn't use S for slope, because people would be like, oh, was that a 5 or is that an S, right? B, no idea. M, I don't know why either. Like, these are just their choices. Whoever started this formula was like, you know what? Maybe they had a daughter named Molly and a son named Brent. And they were like,
maybe
done.
his name was like Matt Bennington.
Maybe.
Matt Bennington.
All right, let's try this one. Y equals negative 8x minus 1. So can you identify the m and the b? Y equals negative 8x minus 1. What's my slope? If I was going to graph this, right? If I was going to count this slope, right? Slope is rise over run, vertical change over horizontal change. Sasha, what's my slope? Over what? Over 1. Good. Only one of your values is negative, correct? Because if I make both of them negative, what happens? It turns positive. And what's my intercept? Where does this diagonal line cross the y-axis? Serenity, where?
-1.
Perfect. Try this one. Y equals 4. Y equals 4. Again, remember, I'm looking for y equals mx plus b. And what's wrong with this problem? What's different about this problem than the other two that we've done? What's different, Joseph?
It doesn't have a variable, so it doesn't have a coefficient. It's just a whole number.
It doesn't have the variable x, meaning since it's not there, what number represents not there? 0. So what's the slope? 0. The slope is 0 because the slope is your m value, and the m value is whatever touches the variable x. Well, if I look at this equation, what's touching the variable x? Nothing. There is no variable x. The number that represents it's not there is 0. The constant, the number by itself, is my intercept, right? So my intercept is 4. What kind of line has a slope of 0? What kind of line has a slope of 0? What kind of line, Kinley? Horizontal. This is a horizontal line. There is no slope. The slope is 0. Y equals 4 means it's still a line, right? It's just a horizontal line. And horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Where does my horizontal line intercept the y-axis? Where does my horizontal line intercept the y-axis? At 4. Here, my diagonal line intercepts the y-axis at -1. Here, my diagonal line intercepts the y-axis at 3. Here, I have a horizontal line because there is a slope of 0. And my horizontal line intercepts at 4. What do you think if a horizontal line is y equals 4, or y equals -2, or y equals 1 million? What would a vertical line look like, do you think? If a horizontal line is y equals 4, if a horizontal line is y equals 4, or y equals 10, or y equals -8, what do you think a vertical line would look like, Joseph?
Y equals 0.
Not y equals. Vertical lines are not y equals. Vertical lines are x equals. Vertical lines are x equals. Vertical lines are x equals. Horizontal lines are y equals a number. Vertical lines are x equals a number. Horizontal lines are y equals a number. All right, so if I give you an equation, can you identify the slope, the m, and the intercept, the b? If you're given an equation, can you identify the m, the slope, and the b, the y-intercept? Yes? If you're given a graph, so page 41 is where we're going to put our graph. If you're given a graph, can you do the same thing? So, all right, we're going to have to be a little precise, which sometimes is the hardest part of it. If you look at number 1, we have to put the dots on there. We have to put the dots on there for our graphs. So for problem number 1, what's the slope of this line? What's the slope of this line? Where do we start when counting slope? Where do we start when counting slope?
Rise.
The bottom dot. We need to do our rise over run. So we go up How many? 2. And over 4. Then we simplify to get 1/2. Because look, if I go up 1 and over 2 and up 1 and over 2, I get to the same place. My y-intercept, where does my diagonal line cross the y-axis? Where does my diagonal line, my graph of my lines, where does it cross the y-axis? Right here, right? So that's positive 3. So now let's write the equation. Y equals, what's my slope? 1/2 x plus 3. That's it. That's the equation for that line. All right, let's try this guy. So here and here. Again, the hardest part when you have a line already given to you is the precision of where are those intersections, right? What's the slope of this line? Close. 4 over -1 or -4 over +1. Doesn't matter where the negative goes, right? What does 4 over -1 simplify to? -4. And what's my y-intercept? Where does that line, that diagonal line, cross the y-axis? -4. Lots of -4s in this problem, huh? So write the equation. Y equals mx plus b. What's your slope? -4 x minus 4. Yes, sir. If it is diagonal, eventually it will intersect it. It may intersect really high up, right? Or really far down. But if it has any type of slope to it, it will intersect the y-axis. Number 3. M equals B equals. Number 3, M equals B equals. What's your slope? What's your rise over run? Rise over run. So I go up 2 and over -4, correct? Because I'm going to the left. 2 over -4 simplifies to -1/2. You can give the negative to either the numerator or the denominator or put it out front. Just don't make both of them negative. And the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, is +2. So y equals -1/2 x plus 2. Number 4, M equals and B equals. Number 4, M equals and B equals. What's your slope of this line? 0, because why?
It's horizontal.
It is a horizontal line, and horizontal lines have a slope of 0. What's your intercept? -2. So if I was going to write my equation, I'd say y equals 0x minus 2. Can you simplify that?
0.
Y equals -2. Better? Oh, sorry. All right. You guys do these ones. 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'll give you ordered pairs if that makes life a little bit easier.